to the Overtime Exhaustion Series. This is where we really get relentless. We done already done 100 burpees. We exhausted, we tired, but we want to keep pushing and keep stretching our boundaries, keep expanding our capacity. You know what I'm saying? This is where the workouts might get a little ugly. We don't know how the form gonna be. We don't care how the form gonna be. All we trying to do is just get more reps in, more time. We would call this extra credit workout. You know what I'm saying? So, enough talking. Let's let the speaker do what he do, and we do what we do. And let's put this work in. Let's get it.
Progress is not about speed. It's about consistency, no matter how you feel. You don't need the perfect time, the perfect mood, or the perfect plan. You just need to show up and do what you can with what you have. Every day is a new chance to move forward, even if the progress feels invisible. What matters is that you don't stand still. Today, we're talking about how to make real progress every single day, no matter what life throws at you. Most people wait for the perfect moment, but it rarely comes. Progress doesn't come from motivation. It comes from decisions you make, even on your worst days. This is about building habits that work even when you don't feel like it. It's about learning how to keep moving when you're tired, distracted, or feeling stuck. If you're ready to break excuses and take full control of your growth, then let's dive in. Number 1, start your day with one clear, achievable intention. Most people wake up already feeling behind. The alarm clock rings, and before they've even gotten out of bed, their minds are flooded with stress. They're thinking about bills, unfinished work, missed opportunities, what they didn't do yesterday, or how far behind they are in life. That kind of start to the day is like carrying a heavy backpack before you've even put your shoes on. It's not just exhausting, it's paralyzing. And yet that's how many people live. They don't begin their day with direction. They just fall into it. They react to the day instead of taking charge of it. Now here's what I've learned from experience, not just ideas. If you want to make progress every day, no matter what, then the way you start your day matters more than anything else. Not in some magical fairy tale sense. No. In a very real, grounded, practical way. And it starts with just one thing, one clear, achievable intention. Not 10 goals, not a list of things that'll overwhelm you. One thing, one task, one decision that's small enough to complete, but strong enough to set the tone for the day. When you wake up, your mind is fresh. It hasn't yet been pulled in 100 directions. That's the best time to decide what kind of day you're going to have. But don't try to conquer the whole world before breakfast. That's what burns people out. Set one small intention you know you can complete, and that will actually mean something to you. Maybe it's making that phone call you've been putting off. Maybe it's eating one healthy meal. Maybe it's writing one paragraph if you're working on a book. Something so clear that you can measure it by the end of the day and say, yes, I did it. You see, progress isn't measured in giant leaps. It's built on stacking small wins. And that starts with deciding what that one small win is going to be today. This isn't about being perfect. This isn't about changing your whole life in one day. It's about building trust with yourself again. Because if you say to yourself, this is my intention today, and then you follow through even on one small thing, you start to believe in your own word again. That's how real self-respect begins. Now, I know some people will say, but Jim, life is unpredictable. What if something unexpected happens? What if my whole day gets thrown off? And I say, of course, things will go wrong. Life is full of surprises. But that's exactly why you need to start with intention, because if your intention is clear, then even when the storm hits, you know what your anchor is. You have at least one thing you can come back to. One thing you promised yourself. And if you finish that one thing, then the day isn't lost. Even if everything else falls apart, you still kept your word to yourself. When you make this a habit, something starts to shift inside. You begin to feel more in control, not of the world, but of yourself. And that's all you ever really need to feel steady. Because you can't control what the world throws at you, but you can control what you choose to focus on each morning. You can control what you commit to. And most importantly, you can control whether or not you follow through on that commitment. Start simple. If you've been struggling, don't try to build a mountain today. Just decide to climb one step. That might mean setting your intention to get out of bed without hitting snooze. It might mean reading 2 pages of a book instead of scrolling your phone. These are not small things. They are proof that you are taking your day back from distraction, from doubt, from delay. And over time, those small intentions turn into new habits. Those new habits become your new story, your new standard. And don't wait for motivation to come knocking on your door, because here's a hard truth. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. You can't depend on it. But what you can depend on is this: discipline, clarity. One decision made early in the day when your energy is still yours, before the world tries to steal it with 1,000 little demands. And I'll tell you something powerful. When you start your day with a clear, achievable intention, you send a message to your brain. I am in control of what happens next. That changes how you carry yourself. You walk with more purpose. You speak with more certainty. You stop waiting for someone else to tell you what to do. That's how leaders are born. Not in boardrooms, not on stages, but right there in the quiet of the morning when you choose to lead your own life, starting with one action. If you've ever felt like you're stuck in the same place day after day, it's probably because your mornings have no direction. You're waking up, but you're not starting strong. And without a strong start, the rest of the day just happens to you. You're not really living, you're surviving. But the moment you take 5 minutes to ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that matters to me? That's the moment your life starts moving again. And don't worry if your intention feels small. It's not about size, it's about focus. A drop of water is small, but enough drops can carve a canyon. One clear step each day, repeated, leads to a life that feels completely different. And I mean that, because the way you live your days is the way you live your life. This isn't some trick. This is discipline. This is a strategy for progress. You don't need more hours, you need more direction, and it starts with you. Not your boss, not your partner, not your past, you. And it starts each morning with a simple question. What's the one thing I'm going to do today that I'll be proud of? When you answer that and then follow through, you begin to write a new story. A story of progress, a story of effort, a story of showing up. And day by day, that story becomes your reality. Not because everything went right, but because you chose to show up for one thing even when things went wrong. That's what makes you strong. That's what keeps you growing. That's what builds the kind of life you don't need to escape from. One day, one choice, one intention at a time. Number 2, focus only on what truly moves you forward. Most people are busy all day, yet at night they feel like they've gotten nowhere. They run around, answer messages, attend meetings, scroll through feeds, juggle 10 things, and check off to-do lists that never end. But deep down, they know none of it really mattered. They didn't get any closer to the life they want. They didn't take one real step toward their goals. And that's one of the hardest truths to face, being exhausted by things that don't actually bring any progress. It's not just about being busy. It's about what you're busy doing. The truth is, doing more doesn't mean you're getting ahead. It just means you're filling time. You can't measure your day by how much you checked off a list. You have to measure it by what actually made a difference. Most people avoid that because it's easier to stay busy than to be honest. But honesty is the beginning of change. If you want to make progress every single day, no matter what's happening around you, you need to focus only on what actually moves the needle. This requires something most people avoid: thinking, slowing down for a moment, looking at your life and asking, what are the few things that actually create results? What are the few actions that truly matter to where I want to go? Not everything deserves your attention. Not everything deserves your time. You have to learn to separate the noise from the signal. And the noise is everywhere. It shows up in distractions that look like work. You check your inbox 50 times thinking you're staying on top of things, but really you're just avoiding the hard task that actually moves you forward. You over-prepare, over-plan, over-analyze, but you don't take the action that would create real momentum, because that action usually feels uncomfortable. That's the sign you're heading in the right direction: discomfort. If it's easy, it's probably not progress. Growth rarely feels comfortable, but we've been trained to chase what's easy, not what's effective. So you have to rewire your thinking. Just because something makes you feel productive doesn't mean it's valuable. Ask yourself, what's the one thing I could do today that, if I completed it, would leave me feeling proud tonight? That's your priority. That's what deserves your focus. Now, this is where most people mess up. They try to focus on 5 or 10 things at once. But your brain can't give full attention to many things. You dilute your energy. You wear yourself out. And worst of all, you end the day scattered instead of satisfied. Progress requires...
Great workout. Great workout, guys. Great. You know, we beast up them arms. Great workout, guys. Another one in the books. Good work on them arms and them shoulders. Get into it. As we do the Navy SEAL Exhaustion Series on the other videos. And it's hitting all that calisthenics, getting all that, you know what I'm saying, good body movement going on, and working the cardio. Now as we sit up and we work on these dumbbells, and we deal with these dumbbells and build our muscle, now we're really digging into the body with calisthenics and then with the dumbbells. You know what I'm saying? We're really digging in, and that's what's gonna create the change right there. You know what I'm saying? That's how the athletes operate. You know what I'm saying? They run. They work out, they jump, they do cardio, they do ab work, they do it all. And this is how your body starts changing. You know what I'm saying? It won't just change to how you want it to. It depends on what you're looking for. But most people, you know what I'm saying, I want to look something like the Ultimate Warrior, you know what I'm saying? You know you want to be popping. So you got to do popping stuff, you know what I mean? And that's how we're just going to stay at it. Some things going to be basic. Some things going to be more intense than other things. But at the end of the day, we just want to stay consistent. You know what I mean? And even if you're tired, you still want to push yourself and see truly where your limit is. You know what I mean? And sometimes the mind gonna trick you, you know what I'm saying, with that limit. So just listen to the, you know what I'm saying? When I've gotten to my limit, like, I realize I'll push, and then I stop if I feel like a slight pull, or if I feel like the bump, you know what I'm saying, something like that, then I know, okay. But just a natural fatigue or a natural, you know what I'm saying, nah, you can push through that, you know what I'm saying? But good stuff, you know what I mean? We staying at it, like I always say, and we staying focused. Boom. That's my time block alarm. Well, much love to you guys. Shut up, dog. I love you guys. You already know what it is. Together, we can do anything.